Yo, what's up, everybody? Happy Victory Monday. I hope everybody's having a good day. Let's drop the new intro, the new and improved intro. Yo, what's up? Look at that fresh intro. Shout out to Mr. Roscoe's. I don't know if you guys know him, but Mr. Roscoe's on Twitter. Man, he dropped me some new fire, gave me a new intro. You gotta love it, man. I try to upgrade the graphics. He got me a dope little overlay. Shout out Mr. Roscoe's, man. Does great work. If anybody needs some work, shout out to my boy Mr. Roscoe's, man. The intro was pretty dope. He sent it to me. I was like, yo, let's roll, man. So I had to upgrade. The bye week took a few days off. I'm back better than ever. How we feeling tonight, man? How the hell are we going? What's up, Riley? The intro's fire. We'll miss the 30-second timer. You know, Nia, I miss it, but I don't miss it that much. What's up, Alberto Soto? Michael, what's good? Oh, man, I am Susie. What's up? Marcos, Mark, everybody, what's up? 49ers throwback. DS is OBJ to the Niners. We're going to be lit. That's major swag. Ferndog says the same people that were saying with the CMC rumors we don't need CMC, but when we got him, everyone was happy about it. That's kind of the way I feel. But let's go. We got a new layout. We fresh and popping. I had to make some changes around my YouTube this weekend. Deleted a lot of old videos. Unfortunately, it sucks, but I had to do what I had to do. YouTube, they got a lot of red tape and stuff around there. So in order to be part of the YouTube partner program, I had to delete a lot of old content, but we're still going to be up. We're still going to be doing what we got to do. Appreciate all the support. We hit 8K this week, and I couldn't be more appreciative of you. But you know what? There was some good news today. I know we talked a little bit about it on Instagram, and there's a lot of rumors out there today. OBJ, I know everybody wants to talk about OBJ. Let's talk about the good news. Today feels like Victory Monday, doesn't it? Niners had a bye week. They didn't lose. We got to watch the Rams fall apart. They're 3-5 now, and I don't think the Rams could bounce back from 3-5 like the Niners did because they just don't have that mentality. They don't have that dog in them. They don't feel like they can bounce back from adversity. That's the way I look at it. And then you got the Cardinals are just tumbling apart, falling apart. Another big loss for them. They're pretty much down and out. Well, they got 2 wins right now. Shout out to the Seahawks. They look really good. It's going to be a battle December 15th, 49ers Seahawks. That might determine the winner of the NFC West. But the Niners have to win games before they get there. The good news is they got the bye. They're getting healthy. And boy, did they get healthy. Azeez Al-Shahir, Elijah Mitchell, and Colton McKivitz all had their practice windows open. Azeez Al-Shahir told reporters, Nick Wagner and a couple others reported that Azeez says he expects to play on Sunday against the Chargers. He's ahead of schedule. Elijah Mitchell already told Matt Mayoko last week that he's going to play Sunday. He's ahead of schedule. Like, that is amazing news. Colton McKivitz might come back this weekend. We don't know, but he could be good depth. They're getting healthy at the right time. Debo's back at practice. Juwan Jennings. Kyle Juszczyk's back. I don't know if you guys saw the videos from over the weekend. He was in Tahoe with Kittle. He doesn't have his cast on. I noticed that. And Jason Verrett, he's getting healthier every week. So great news. Greenlaw, Armstead, and Javon Kinlaw still have not been able to practice yet. Obviously, Kinlaw's on injured reserve. But Armstead and Greenlaw are still dealing with some nagging injuries. But they should be back eventually. But, man, that's a lot of players coming back, man. That's so good. Steve-O says, hey, Raj, how are you doing? I'm doing great, man. This was a good weekend. I hope everybody had a really good bye week. I had a really good bye weekend. I got a lot of rest, and I hope everybody else did. Watched some football games, and I enjoyed seeing other teams lose. It's good. It's good. Hit that like button. Thank you. So let's talk about this. Should we get OBJ or not? Greg says we don't need him. I mean, we don't necessarily need them. The Niners have good players, right? CMC, they just went out and got CMC. They got Deebo Samuel, the most versatile physical weapon out there. You got George Kittle, a physical, tight end that can bruise you and he can block. You got Brandon Ayuk, who's having a breakout season. Brandon Ayuk right now is better than what OBJ probably is coming off a torn ACL. You got Juwan Jennings, who's a really good blocker out there, a very underrated player on this offense. You got Elijah Mitchell coming back, who's a very good running back. Do the Niners need him? Probably not. But should they get him? It's a different question. I think the Niners, if they can get him for a cheap price, why not? Add to the offense, stack your team up. Injuries happen, you never know. And if he's willing to take a drop of a drop in money and a drop in production or role in the offense, I don't think it would be a bad move. I know we don't necessarily need him. I know people are going to say you need a lineman more, you need a D lineman, a cornerback. Yeah, those are probably more useful. But in the NFC, if we have the most dominating offense, I don't think anybody's going to beat this team, right? It's about getting to the Super Bowl. If the Niners make it to the Super Bowl and play the Chiefs, especially the Chiefs or the Bills, they have some like dynamic offenses. We're going to have to be able to score with them. Obviously, you got to be able to defend them and stop them. We watched Tennessee game last night, and Tennessee, they played pretty damn good against the Chiefs last night. Defense was holding them tough. And you saw the Jets beat the Bills yesterday, and it was a great defensive performance. Obviously, defense is going to go a long way, but you have to have some offense to be able to put up against these top teams in the AFC. You have to have offensive firepower. I don't think it would be a bad idea to get OBJ. Now, it wouldn't be, a necessary need because, again, they do have a stacked offense. But, again, if he's coming for cheap, why not? Go bring him in. The Niners have wanted him for a long time. I don't think it would be the end of the world. So, OBJ in the slot would be deadly. Don't underestimate him, says Kai. You can never Mika says, you can never have too many weapons. But if he wants a multi-year, likely keep some mix. I agree with this. If it's something like too many years down the line, again, they do have to think about the future. You do have Nick Bosa and kind of things like that, right? There's some players they got to bring back. You don't want to overwhelm yourself. But again, if the 49ers are going all in and they're trying to put all the eggs in the basket and win a Super Bowl, kind of like the Rams did. Last year, the Rams said, F it, we're going all in. And they signed everybody. They went and grabbed OBJ middle of the season. Worked out for them. He had 8 touchdowns. He was literally a beast for the Rams. He was one of the more important players. He was one of the more important players for the Rams down the stretch. You know what I mean? So it would help. He's a good veteran. You remember when the 49ers got Emmanuel Sanders? It's a big money move. It was a big move for this team in terms of helping these guys develop. And it's always good to have a good veteran in the clubhouse. Now, again, it's not a need. I don't know if he'd want to take a lesser role because it is OBJ. He's still a good receiver, and he still probably wants to prove himself. He'd probably come in with the chip on his shoulder. That's the type of guy he is. He's always been one of the better receivers in the league. Kind of fell down a little bit with Cleveland, but he kind of resurrected himself last year with the Rams. Can he be at that same level? That's where I don't know because he's coming off his second ACL tear. It's a big injury. And for him to want to be at that high level, it's going to be tough. But I know he trains hard, and I know he's a very strong athlete, and he's a resilient player. Again, he came back pretty damn good from the last ACL. So it would be very interesting to see how good he is. But again, he did go to the media yesterday. He was on an interview at Complex. So let me pull up some of the information because the rumors are heating up. That they honestly are. Like, I'm not even going to lie. At first, I was like, every year they have these OBJ rumors, right, with the Niners. OBJ is on the way. We've been sitting here for years getting played with, getting teased with the OBJ. So, again, we know he's coming back from a torn ACL. And this week, though, there was a report that says he should be fully cleared. This was from Jay Glazer of NFL Insider. He said that he should be fully cleared by the end of the week. And there's going to be a lot of teams looking into OBJ, right? There's a lot of teams. So he said that the 49ers are going to be in a bidding war, right? He says that they're going to be in a bidding war. They're going to be in the mix with all the teams looking to get OBJ. So he says this, I have learned, this is what Jay Glazer said, Odell Beckham, I have learned, will be ready and cleared by the end of the week. Fully clear, no limitations. And then after that, it's just for up to a team to get his condition up and obviously get a playbook down. So he should be fully clear. Team will just have to sign him up, make sure he knows the playbook, and go from there. So this is what John Lynch said this weekend. He had an interview with Matt Maiocco. I don't know if you guys saw it or heard it, but he did ask him about Odell Beckham. And Maiocco asked him, and he says, This is what John Lynch says. He says, look, we never say no. That's what John Lynch says. He says, we're always looking to get better. And it's a rarity when you have a player of that ilk and some other names out there that still might be available. And he goes, and we always will look. You know, John Lynch, due diligence season. He says he will never say no. So it kind of sounds like they might look at the prospect of getting OBJ. And the rumors, it doesn't seem like they're false. You know, Jay Glazer did say that they're going to be in the mix. They're going to be in a bidding war. Now, that is the key, a bidding war. Do the Niners want to overpay for a veteran receiver coming off a torn ACL? I don't know. I mean, I know the Niners love to sign injured players, right? That's the joke, running joke. But will they sign a guy that's coming off a second torn ACL for big money? That's where I think the Niners might say no. The 49ers are kind of a little different this year. Nobody expected them to go boom, aggressive and get CMC. So I feel like the Niners are on a different wavelength this year. I don't know. I think if the money's right and Odell Beckham really, really, really wants to come to the Niners, because it's going to be up to Odell at the end of the day. It's really going to be up to him. Basically, if he wants to come to the Niners, I think they'll sign him and he'll make the price reasonable. You know, he did say this yesterday. He was on, I think, Complex. Let me pull up the tweet real quick. Let me pull it up. Odell Beckham. And so he did yesterday drop 4 teams he could join. So this is on Sports Illustrated. He names 4 teams he would potentially join. So he listed Buffalo, Green Bay, the Cowboys, or the Giants. He goes, I want to be able to spill, not staying. I only got 3 or 4 left, but the next 3 years or 4 into something where I could buy a home, a place where he can call home. So wherever he goes next, he wants to be able to settle down there. And he did mention Buffalo, Green Bay, the Cowboys, and the Giants. So he said those were the 4 teams he just threw out. I don't know if those are the only 4 teams, but he did mention those 4 teams. And he says he wants to settle down. He wants to plant his roots down wherever he goes. So that'll be interesting. He is selling, from what I've heard, he's selling his house wherever he's at now. He's looking to settle down somewhere. So wherever he goes, he's going to move there and settle down. So if he comes out here, he wants to settle down. So it is going to be a couple of years. Now, that's the other part of it is if the Niners are going to get him, he wants to play, he said, a 3 to 4 year contract. So would the 49ers overpay 3 to 4 years for a guy that has 2 ACLs? That's where I don't know. So let's see what the guys have on the comments. Let's see. Albuquerque Turkey says, I read on TikTok OBJ and Lynch were spotted at a massage parlor. Oh, man. Breaking news. Greg says the Cowboys are interested in him. I have heard that. I have read that. I'm sure the Cowboys are very interested in him. Jerry Jones, you know, he wants to make a big money move. I'm sure if he had the money and he wants to get him to kind of overleap the Eagles, he would do it because the Eagles are a big threat right now. They're the top team in that division. And I'm sure Jerry Jones wants to take down the Eagles. And if that's what they need to take down the Eagles, I'm sure Jerry Jones would go out and make that money. Reyes says, now that you said that, I don't want him to. Miguel, what's up? I don't know. It's tough. Caesar says, we need Tom Brady to win the Super Bowl, not OBJ. I don't know. If you give this team as many weapons as they can, I mean, you could probably win the Super Bowl. You have a strong defense. You have great players like Debo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, CMC, Elijah Mitchell, OBJ. It would make the offense very almost unstoppable. I get it. I get it. He probably wouldn't be a type of player that wants to take a lesser role but if he does, because he wants to chase a championship, he'd fit right in because you don't have to sit there and throw him 20 targets a game, 15 targets a game, you know, big time wide receiver 1 numbers. But he would open up the whole offense. He would open up the whole field. Like, okay, Debo's there, right? Who's going to cover Debo? Who's going to cover Ayuk, who's having a flat-out breakout season? Who's going to cover OBJ? Who's going to cover Kittle? I mean, on theory, on paper, it definitely sounds nice. It would actually open everything up. Again, it would be a money move on paper, but can he coexist with everybody? Is there enough footballs to go around? Is Jimmy going to be able to utilize everybody properly? I don't know. He looked good this past Sunday against the Rams, right? CMC gave him more confidence. You would expect with OBJ there, Jimmy to be even more confident, right? Give Jimmy as much confidence as you can. Give him as many weapons as you can, right? If you think Jimmy G's your weakness, give him so many strengths that he can't fail. Like That's the way I'm looking at it. If he has weaknesses that, everybody's pointing out, he's not a good quarterback, he can't win a Super Bowl. You give him that many weapons, it's going to be hard to fail. So Richard says OBJ will not be a good fit. So I don't know. I think he could be a good fit in this offense. I think, again, as long as he's a willing participant and he knows his role and they establish that, I think he could be a good fit. And I feel like a lot of people say, he's a culture vulture. He's a guy that doesn't want to, be a lead guy, a character guy. I feel that's different. I think the Niners, they know what to expect out of players. And they'll only sign guys if they know he's a good, quick character guy. Lynch has been trying to get this guy for several years. I know Kyle likes him. They've speak highly of him. He has good friends on the team. Him and Jimmy a couple years back. Remember the little video? And him and Debo, they boys. I'm sure they'd have a good vibe. I think they'd be okay. I think they could coexist, but ultimately, I don't think it's going to happen. I think OBJ goes to Dallas. That's where I think is really going to happen, because I think Jerry Jones is going to throw the most money out there. That's who I think is going to get him. But you got to realize OBJ came in last year, and he was the difference maker for the Rams. When the 49ers played the Rams last year in the playoffs, he was the difference maker. I really feel that was the biggest difference. So, I don't know. That's just my take on it. What do you guys think? Well, let's see what your guys' thoughts are now that I've spent a couple minutes ranting about it. A Goated says, OBJ isn't what he once was. He's coming off another ACL injury. He's not going to be the same person. And that again, we did mention that. I did touch up on that. Is OBJ going to be the same guy as he was in the past? That's a big if, because it is his second ACL. It's not his first, and one is tough, right? But his second one, he has the mentality. I know he's a guy that has the mentality coming off this injury. So I think anybody that could come back at a high level, it would be OBJ, because he knows what it takes. But the body takes a toll. He's not as young as he once was. He is older. He's getting closer to his, he's in his, was he 30 now? It's not an easy injury to come back from. So it is easy to say that, yeah, he definitely is not going to be the same. So then again, it goes back to the money. And you have to say, hey, look, it would be an incentive deal. It would have to be an incentive deal to say, hey, if you can prove us that you're out there and you're going to be the same guy, or at least a productive player, then you can earn X amount of money based on incentives. So that's another part of it. But I agree. I don't know how effective OBJ can be coming off his second ACL injury. So OBJ could be the difference maker. OBJ is a ring chaser. He really is. But hey, if he helps the 49ers, now answer this, Rhea. If he's a ring chaser and he helps the 49ers win a ring, would you be upset? Probably not. If the Niners win a ring, I don't care. I don't think we care who's on the roster. That's the way I look at it. I don't know. STP says Brandon Ayuk tweeted in apparent disapproval. Oh, let's see what Brandon Ayuk has tweeted. Has he? Let's see. Ayuk. BA. Let's see what he tweeted. He hasn't tweeted since April 21st, 2021. The last time he tweeted was my birthday in 2021. So, yeah. Brandon Ayuk has not tweeted anything. He did post on he did make a comment on one of my posts last week, but he didn't tweet anything. This is his last tweet. And they were thinking about switching his number. It was last year when they're doing the number changes. Somebody put a graphic of Brandon Ayuk in the number 2 jersey. Is he going to switch to number 2? Right? The return. And he quote tweeted on top of it with the 11. And he says, He wasn't having it. Kai says, look how much CMC changed our offense. Then you add OBJ. I don't know. I agree with Kai on this one. I feel like it's a difference maker. Maybe he comes in and he's the missing piece. I get it. The Niners do need some players on defense because Arik Armstead's hurt, but they're getting their players back, right? They're getting some cavalry back. Azeez Al-Shahir's coming back. Greenlaw slowly will be back. Armstead eventually will be back. It's going to be tough to kind of make up for Mosley. It's going to be like that all year. But they are getting players back. I don't know. I do feel you bring in a guy like that, it changes the whole offense. And it would be damn tough to stop the Niners offense if they got OBJ. That's it. That's my biggest takeaway is I really feel that it would be tough to stop the Niners. Now, again, is he a surefire need? Not necessarily, but this is the aggressive move that you would want to make, right? To go get a big time player like that. Because listen, a team like the Chiefs, a team like the Bills, if they go get it, you're going to sit here and say, do the Bills need OBJ? Do the Chiefs need OBJ? They probably don't. Or do the Giants? Not the Giants. Well, yeah, they need him. The Cowboys, right? Do the Cowboys need OBJ? They probably don't need him. They have good players. They have a great receiver, CeeDee Lamb. But it's just another weapon to stack on their offense and then make them deadlier, right? It'd make CeeDee Lamb even better. Then do the Bills need him? Hell no, they don't. They have a great offense. But they're one of the teams looking in to get him. Just makes the strong stronger. It's like they say, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, right? That's exactly what would happen. If he goes to the Bills, the rich get richer and would make them even more dangerous. So, I don't know. Fern says, if we have a good QB like Mahomes or Allen with the current roster on our team, yeah, and that's what they've been looking for years. So they've been looking for a good quarterback. Again, Jimmy, he knows the system. He's a serviceable game manager. He's not an elite guy like Mahomes or Josh Allen. But, hey, Jimmy's right now our best option at the moment, and hopefully he can get it done. Obviously, there's better quarterbacks out there, but you never know. If the Niners win a Super Bowl this year, and Jimmy's the quarterback, I mean, geez, man, he'll have done everything that everybody wants, Josh Allen to do, Patrick Mahomes to do. So, again, it's a team effort, and the Niners have a phenomenal team. I think if you make the offense even better, stack that team, give him an undisposable amount of weapons, Jimmy G might not be able to fail. So. Let's see. If the Niners win a Super Bowl, do we let Jimmy walk, or do you think he will get an extension? See, this is a good comment, a good question. I know a lot of people are asking this. I mean, if the 49ers win a Super Bowl and Jimmy G's the starter, my guess right now, if I had to guess, gun in my head, I think they keep him on the roster. I really do. I think it'll be hard-pressed for Kyle and John to let him walk. I honestly think if the 49ers win a Super Bowl and Jimmy's the quarterback this year, I think they'll keep him, even though Trey's there. It's going to be a controversial move, but I really think they would keep him as an insurance policy, right? Because they're going to have, Trey coming back from the injury. I think they're gonna say it too in the press conference. Oh, this is probably insurance policy. I mean, it'd be hard pressed for them to get rid of a quarterback that won a Super Bowl. That's the way I look at it. Let's see. DS is Jimmy threw outside the numbers last week. That was one of Jimmy's best games I've seen him play. Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie, man. That was one of Jimmy's best games. Last game I've seen him play that good was against the Saints back in 2019. Jimmy made some good throws, man. Let's see if he can keep it up. So now we're coming into the second half of the season, right? We want this team to be very productive. We want them to win. Jimmy has to keep playing like the way he did against the Rams. He has to be consistent. Can't make those mistakes. You got to keep dotting it up, throw some dimes. I really think that CMC has given him confidence, and I think that's a player that's going to make him trust, his players more. He made throws to players that weren't the first or second or even the third read. He went through his progressions. And again, CMC is a guy that is a check down King's favorite weapon. He's a good security blanket for Jimmy, and Jimmy knew it. And then the defense was attracted to CMC, and it was, led to Kittle being open. So I think with CMC, Jimmy's going to be a little bit more comfortable moving forward. You bring in a guy like OBJ, going back to the whole topic that we're talking about, you bring in a guy like OBJ, I think that's only going to make Jimmy more confident. So that's my biggest takeaway is you bring these weapons in, you help Jimmy stay confident, you help him, get all these weapons. I think it would help. But again, there's three big factors. Is OBJ still going to be effective after an ACL, second ACL? We don't know. How much money is he going to want? And will the 49ers be able to afford that money? And then the third big question, like we said, is would he take a lesser role? Because if he comes to the Niners, he's not going to be wide receiver one. You got Brandon Ayuk. You got Tebow Samuel. You got CMC. You got George Kittle. You got Elijah Mitchell. He is not going to be the top option. He might be the fourth or fifth option. Would he be okay with that? Those are the big key questions that you have to ask. And I don't know if it's going to happen because of those. So we'll see what happens. Definitely think it's fun to talk about. It's something to, discuss, especially during the bye week. We ain't really got no news. So it kind of came at a good time. All these damn rumors. It always happens that way. In the off season, there's not a lot to talk about. Bye week, we don't have any news to talk about. So the media, they like to stir the pot. And they give us all this mumbo jumbo to talk about, and we kind of get our brain rolling. So content creators, we start going, oh my God, are they going to get OBJ? And we start talking about it amongst ourselves. It's fun to talk about. Now, do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. I think, again, OBJ, if I had to guess, I think he goes to the Cowboys. That's my final guess. But, hey, you never know. And I know for a fact, if he did sign, fans would be hyped out of their mind. Like, you can't lie to me. If it did happen, I know Niner fans would be hyped out of their mind. Even if they don't want him right now, even fans that don't want him, I guarantee you they'll be crazy the moment it were to happen. If it happens, Niner fans would lose their mind. Because the same thing happened with CMC. There's a lot of people, oh, we don't need him. Happened, oh my God, I can't believe we got him. It was fun that day it happened. The breaking news, I was in shock. I was in shock when it happened. So, and then Manuel says, will he be a cancer for the team? I don't know. I know a lot of people say he's tough in the locker room. I know a lot of people say different. I don't know. I don't buy that. I think maybe Cleveland kind of stained him because that was just a bad environment. I know the Giants, he kind of, over the last couple of years, kind of fell apart, and it was dramatic. The Giants were a bad team, man. They were a bad team. They were wasting his talents. It's tough because I see it two ways. I see it as a player. These guys want to go out there and win and play, but they bust their ass off. They don't want to go bust their ass off to lose. So, yeah, you might get a little frustrated. And then you didn't have, people getting him the ball sometimes, and it gets a little irritating. He wants to get money. So then he goes to Cleveland. He thought it was going to be greener pastures, and it definitely wasn't. And Cleveland was a shamble. It was a crap house. Baker Mayfield couldn't get him the ball if his life depended on it. And he goes to LA, and it was like a whole different – it was like, oh, this is OBJ we knew. So I think it's situational. I don't think he'd be the worst in the clubhouse. But, again, we don't know. We don't know. Mr. Breezy says, does he want to come here? That's another question, right? Does he even want to come here? Because it is going to be up to Odell. It's going to be up to him on where he wants to go. He's a free agent. I mean, if he doesn't want to come here, if his heart's not involved in it, then we're just talking smoke, right? It's all smoke and rumors, which it is right now. Does he want to go to the Cowboys? Does he want to go to the Bills? If he really loves New York, will he go back to the Giants? I don't know. Those are good questions. That is something to think about, too, because it is his decision. Mr. Breezy says he didn't even want to leave the Giants. That's true. I think he's always genuinely loved the Giants, but I don't think he liked the management that they had, and there was a lot of political turmoil, behind the scenes stuff. I don't think he ultimately wanted to leave the Giants. I agree with that. So. T.Y. says, I don't think the Niners are high on Juwan Jennings or Danny Gray, so OBJ would be nice for a wide receiver 3. I agree with that. I know Danny Gray, he's a rookie. He's still young, learning, developing. He's been very inconsistent. He's got to learn how to kind of block and do the little nuances. Juwan Jennings has been a disappointment this year. I love the guy. He's a great blocker. He's underrated. But I think we expected more out of Juwan Jennings. I think if OBJ was your third receiver, I'd be holy small. He'd be amazing at third receiver. I mean, even though he's coming off of ACL, I still think he'd be better than Juwan Jennings. No disrespect. I mean, it is OBJ. I'm sure he's working his ass off to get himself in tremendous shape. I agree with this stance on it. You would expect him to be better than Juwan Jennings, but no disrespect there. I just feel Jennings has been a little inconsistent this year. He had the hamstring issue, and it has kind of derailed him a little bit here and there. And he just hasn't been that same guy as he was last year in the red zone. Now, it could be, there's just so many mouths to feed. Brandon Ayuk's having a better year, right? So, I don't know. There's a lot to kind of consider in that situation. But, yeah, Juwan Jennings definitely hasn't had the year we expected him. And same thing with Danny Gray. We thought there was a lot of hype on him, but he is a rookie. He's still going to take time. Now, it is the second half of the season coming up, and Juwan Jennings really didn't take off until the second half last year. So, with that being said, Juwan Jennings could still have a good second half because last year, those last 7 games of the year, it was Juwan Jennings was a big-time part of that run they made. He was a touchdown machine, red zone kind of guy, chain mover. He was catching big-time third downs. So I still think Jennings could be a guy that moving forward be a big part of this offense. But he has had a tough first half. Tristan says Ray McLeod isn't terrible, but he's not really trustworthy. Same reason Richie James barely got any offensive snaps. Yeah, and those are special teamers right there. Your return men, so you're not expecting a lot out of them in the receiving game. And when they do play, that they're doing the return job. That's a lot of work in itself. Playing special teams is very tiring and draining, especially if you're returning kicks. And then you're asked to go out there, run routes, and be a receiver. It takes a toll on you. And yeah, Ray McLeod isn't the most reliable receiver. He's had some big drops this year. I think he would definitely OBJ would be an upgrade over Ray. I do like him as a return man, but it is tough to play return / receiver. It's a tough mix there. Steve-O says, technically, someone's got to be the wide receiver 3. They all could be a wide receiver 1 on a lot of teams in the NFL. If we had Debo, BA, and Odell, teams would have to pick who they want to go out of their best guy on, put their best guy on in terms of cornerback. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine? Like, let's just be honest with ourselves. If you had Debo, Brandon Ayuk, and OBJ, they're all technically wide receiver 1s in the sense of being a good receiver, in the terms of their skill set. They all could be a wide receiver 1 on a team. Who are you going to put your best cornerback on? Right? Who are you going to put? You put your best cornerback on BA. Okay, Debo can go do everything he does. He's crazy skill set. Okay, you put it on Debo. BA routes you up more than anybody on this team. And then you got OBJ, who's still, I think, a very solid player. Again, we don't know how effective he's going to be. I still think he can be a very solid player. You put OBJ in the slot, it's not even fair. Bryant, what's up? Kai says Ayuk is playing better than Debo. I agree. I think Ayuk has been. I did my show last week, mid-season awards, and we talked about team MVP, offensive MVP. I think Brandon Ayuk has been the best player on offense, and I honestly think that he has been the best flat-out receiver this whole season. Brandon Ayuk's been consistent, and he's led that wide receiver department. I don't know whether it's Debo having, not really getting the chemistry with everybody this offseason. He didn't have the training. He talked about it in his overtime video this weekend. I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was the documentary he has on overtime, and he said it. He was really focused on the contract. He couldn't really do as much as he wanted to. He wanted to sign it earlier, but his agent was like, we're staying put. We're going to get the numbers we need. It was a crazy situation, and I feel like Debo kind of might have missed some development with the rest of the team because they had Trey Lance coming in this year, and that kind of put him in a back burner. And then, just maybe being a little rusty, and then Jimmy comes in, and those two got to get back on the same page. And then you had defenses keying in on Debo this year because they knew he was such a big threat. So teams are like, we have to neutralize Debo out of the offense, right? So then Brandon Ayuk, here he is stepping up, and we saw how good he was from training camp, and he's continued it on through the season. So, yeah, Brandon Ayuk, 100% has been the guy. Ayuk is going to get paid. I agree. Debo, I definitely agree with this. I don't think he's in the best shape that he is. I don't think he's like, slob, but he definitely missed some training where he would normally be at a certain point in the season. Because you remember the year before, he was just nonstop grinding because he wanted to go get that contract. And this offseason, he was limited. Like, he was grinding, but it was at a limited base. And he even said it. He goes, there was times where I wanted to go out there and do stuff, but he knew I couldn't because of the contract situation. So definitely something that kind of limited him. He didn't really get to go out there and put his best foot forward this offseason. Contracts are tough. That's a big thing that nobody talks about is, they go get signed. But in that middle, like when he's holding out and doing the trade and all that stuff, it's not like he was out there running and doing all this cardio. He was just out there to be out there. He was like Marshawn Lynch. I'm just here so I don't get fined, right? During training camp, the first few days in minicamp, he showed up, but he wasn't doing much. He was wearing, street clothes. He had the shirt on with the undersleeve or the long sleeve underneath, and he was just there smiling, taking pictures. He wasn't doing anything. That kind of stuff takes its toll through the season. So, yeah, I agree with that. And this is a good comment, too. Debo was so amazing last season. It's hard for him to even try to have that close. I mean, it's hard to replicate what he did last year. Last year was a special year. So it was always going to be hard. Even if he came into, tip-top form, that was just a magical season. I still think he's going to have a good second half and then still be, a really solid player for this team. He's a great player. He's 1-on-1. We know how good his skills are. But, man, oh, man, to replicate what he did last year, that's tough mentally, physically. Teams know he's, going to be lined up in certain spots and then know he's going to get the ball at certain times. it's tough on your body. So yeah, Deebo Samuel, 100%. To replicate what he did last year, definitely not easy. So. Kai wants to know, is Verrett coming back this week? We don't know. He came back to practice today from what the reports were, but it was a light practice from what they were saying. We'll see. We got to monitor him throughout the week. I know he came back to practice the previous week, but they weren't ready to put him out there, and plus they were playing on turf. They want to be careful with them. So even if Jason Verrett comes back this week, it's going to be one of those things where they take it easy on him. So. Tristan says, I wish we would have kept DJ Reed. No idea he'd be this good, but I still think Emmanuel Mosley is better when he's healthy. He's very consistent. Yeah, I love Mosley. I think myself, I've been saying Mosley was the biggest loss that this team has had this whole season through injury. I think that was a tough loss. DJ Reed was nice, man. I liked him. He showed flashes. Then he tore his pec, that one off season, and it was tough because they didn't have the ability to put him on the PUP or injured reserve. They were going to cut him and bring him back to the roster. But, when you have to make your roster moves, you have to cut certain people and then bring them back, because you know how the Niners do it, right? They drop a guy, bring him on the practice squad, or bring him back, put him on the PUP. Like, they play chess with their roster, right? We've seen Snead, Dante Johnson, a lot of these guys through the years get cut and they bring them right back, and then they do this musical chair kind of thing. I think that's what they were trying to do with, DJ Reed. I don't think they expected anybody to sign him up, and then boom, Seahawks crept and they came and they picked him up, and he's turned into a really good player. He looked good with the Seahawks when he got healthy, and now he's on the Jets and star player, man. I like DJ Reed. Very good cornerback. I agree. I wish you would have kept him. So defense definitely missing Mosley though. Tristan says he thinks we could end up with 4 players with at least 800 receiving yards this year. 2 players with over 1,000. It's possible. They're throwing the ball a lot more this year, but I do think they need to run the ball more. And I think now with Elijah Mitchell, if he's healthy, and Christian McCaffrey, man, doing what he did last week, if he could continue, it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice. They definitely got to get back to that run game. But yeah, passing game has been nice. Brandon Ayuk has been very solid this year. I really like what I've seen out of Brandon Ayuk. So, and again, going back to OBJ, which we were talking about today, with Brandon Ayuk so good, it's hard to really see if they were to bring OBJ, if he'd even get that many reps and targets and stuff, because Brandon Ayuk is having such a good year, So it would really, I think 2 things. It would make Brandon Ayuk have a better year because, okay, you got OBJ out there. You're going to cover him. You're going to cover Deebo. Brandon Ayuk's going to be open. And also, too, is it would just really signify that Brandon Ayuk's your top guy, because you know OBJ is going to be good, but you can't expect him to be as good as what Brandon Ayuk has been this season. This guy has been such a good player. He's winning all his routes. He's just dominating. Great at the blocking game. And that's the other thing is Kyle loves receivers that can block. OBJ is not known for his blocking. He's great athleticism, big-time catches. He'll go up and make those athletic moves. Fast guy, explosive type guy off the line of scrimmage. But having an ACL might deter that a little. So Brandon Ayuk still would be the top dog if they went and got OBJ. TY says, give TDP some snaps. I mean, they should at least throw him a few snaps. Throw the dog a bone, right? Give him a few snaps. Let him develop. He's a future guy. You don't want to get Mitchell hurt. You don't want to get CMC hurt. So I definitely think he'd be a good 3rd running back in the rotation, and let him get some snaps so those 2 main guys don't get hurt, because we do not want CMC to get hurt. We do not want Elijah Mitchell to get hurt again. That's why a lot of people wanted to keep Jeff Wilson, right? That's why a lot of people wanted to keep Jeff, but Jeff didn't want to play 3rd string. He didn't want to play, a reduced role. He wanted to go out there and make big time plays. He wanted to have a meaningful impact on a team. They sent him to Miami, a team that he's familiar with because of the coach and Raheem Mostert and the way they play. So shout out to Jeff Wilson. Had a good debut yesterday. 72 total yards from scrimmage, touchdown, beautiful game. And that was his first game with them. He's only going to get better with them. So shout out Jeff Wilson. El Jefe, he did ask to be traded. He came out and said it in his interview last week, his press conference. So definitely a guy that, we're going to miss, but, he didn't want to be 3rd string. So Malik, you're late. Damn it. All good, man. Appreciate you for tuning in. We did talk a lot already. It's been 40 minutes. We talked about OBJ maybe coming to the Bay. My prediction is he goes to the Giants, or not the Giants, to the Dallas Cowboys, but we'll see what happens. Again, I want to see what everybody thinks. If you're just coming in, what do you guys think? Should the Niners get OBJ? Do you think it's possible? Do you think the Niners should just say no? Should they take the plunge? Should they get Odell Beckham Jr.? Strengthen the offense. What do you guys think? Ryan, what's good, my man? Ryan says OBJ is on the way. Sing it, Ryan. OBJ on the way. We've been going through this for years. Every damn year. Rumor about OBJ. Batcher says Hufanga is still the best in the league, even if he misses some tackles. It's great to know that he has great instincts on which player will have the ball. Yeah, I love Hufanga. He definitely, had a few rough games those last two. Missed some tackles, but I think the concussion might have had something to do with it. I think Hufanga will definitely get better as the season continues and his career gets better. Just has to clean up those missed tackles, and I think that's something he'll work on. You could tell he's a hardworking guy. He doesn't want to be known for missing his tackles, and they have been pretty high. So we'll see what happens. I definitely think that Talanoa Hufanga will. I mean, you can't miss as many as he had those last couple of weeks. So I think he'll improve in that. Definitely great instincts. I love the guy. He's been very solid this year. So Stan Lee Cup, creative name. He says OBJ to the Cowboys. TY says we were so close to OBJ, but we ended up with D Ford. Don't remind me about that one. I remember that day. I was hyped because I knew we were close. I remember all the rumors were coming out, and Cowherd had this rumor, and then all the tweets were coming out, and we were closing in, and then boom, they go to the Browns because they, the Giants wanted more from the Niners. They wanted Defoe plus the picks, and the Niners were like, no, boom, Browns come over the top. And then literally like 5 minutes later, I didn't even have time to cry. I remember I posted it, and then I'm sitting there like, oh my God, what is going on? Boom, breaking news. The 49ers signed D Ford, trade for D Ford. I was like, what the fuck just happened? What just happened? I remember that day. It was a wild day. That man was fool's gold. D Ford. He had a great year. It was a lemon. They sold the Niners a lemon. He was fool's gold. I remember he had a good season that year for the Chiefs, and it was like, oh, okay, maybe he's impressive. But it was the first year he was relatively healthy. Hamstring injuries, back issues. He had all the stuff that he had with the Niners. He finally had a year where he was healthy, and he was okay, this guy's nice. Did have that offsides, though. Should have thought about that. But he played well. The Niners were like, screw it. We got to make a big move. We missed out on OBJ. We'll take it. And then he had all the injuries with the Niners. Fell apart. Fool's gold. The biggest lemon the Niners were sold. That was bad. Rhea says, OBJ in this locker room? No, thank you. I don't know. I don't know if he'd be able to cancer. But maybe not. Stan says, I feel OBJ to the Cowboys. Yes, that's my prediction. Nick Wise says, OBJ will be like Emmanuel Sanders. Good vet for Jimmy. That's the way I see it. That's exactly the way I see it. Anthony, 49ers Faithful, says he's a diva. I think it's 50-50. Some people hate OBJ, think he's a diva. Some people think he's just so good you can pass that up. I don't know. Rhea. Look at this comment. He says, breaking news, all caps with the alert emoji. Odell Beckham is signing with the San Francisco 49ers, and then he woke up from his dream. That's basically everybody. We all got that dream. Did I see that Josh Allen got hurt? Yeah, I saw that. You could tell at the end of the game he was grabbing his elbow. I think they just tweeted that as well. Josh Allen. So right here, Chris Mortensen tweeted, Bills quarterback Josh Allen is being evaluated for an elbow injury, right, to his ulnar collateral ligament and related nerves. Oof. That's tough, man. That's tough. Oh, yeah. There's a play where he's trying to make a pass. Defender hits the elbow. He's trying to make the pass. Yikes. My Sports Update just tweeted the play where Josh Allen suffered his elbow injury. It was on the final drive on Sunday. That's tough. I feel bad for the guy. I feel bad for Josh Allen. I hope he's okay. I hope he doesn't get injured for too long, but that definitely didn't look good. You could tell he was like grabbing at it yesterday on that final drive. Whew, Case Keenum season. Yeah, Kai says that's the same injury as Stafford. That is terrible news. That's a rough injury. Very, very, very tough. Hopefully he can bounce back from it. This is the comment right here. The comment of the day. Alberto, my boy, said, I will get OBJ to avoid other teams to get better. That's the mentality. That's why they went and got CMC, so the Rams couldn't get him. I love the way you think, Adam. Alberto, that is the move. Did I say a UCL? Yes, I did say the UCL. Ulnar collateral UCL. That is the injury for Josh Allen. So that is exactly what I said. His ulnar collateral ligament and the nerves related to it. So tough. But going back to what Alberto said is you go and get OBJ so you don't let these other teams get better. But OBJ to the Bay. Imagine the contract he wants. Probably too high, right? Probably. I mean, he still probably has one more big contract left in his mind. So, again, that's a guy that's probably going to want more money than we'd be able to give him. So, cold-blooded, my man. He says, no thanks. Tristan said he had that surgery last year. Yeah, Tommy John, that's a tough one, man. Very, very common in baseball. Very, very, it's a shitty injury. I had a couple patients when I used to work outpatient with that one. It was a long road recovery. Obviously, they weren't athletes, but one of them, he played like amateur baseball, but he wasn't like a professional. So definitely a tough injury to deal with. Any type of injury to the elbow is a tough one. So hopefully he gets better. Ryan says, I'm buying an OBJ 49ers jersey if he signs. He's going to wear that big 13, Purdy to 14. Good stuff. Gold-blooded says, sorry, always felt he was overrated. He's injury-prone, a diva, more likely slower now. He definitely probably slowed down. I don't know if he's a diva. I mean, I just think he's a typical wide receiver. Most wide receivers have that alpha mentality. I mean, you go through the history of wide receivers, they're all pretty much like that. Let's say overrated. Maybe teams, I think slightly, but he's always been good. I think he was good. But I think when he went to Cleveland, he was definitely overrated because he wasn't playing up to his standards. But then you got to realize he had Baker Mayfield throwing. Baker midfield. Injury prone, I will agree with that. Unfortunately for him, he has had tough injuries. But, still a good receiver throughout his career. I think he was talented. I remember watching him in LSU, and I just was like, oh, this guy's a phenomenal athlete. But, I like the guy. Definitely could be a lot slower coming off a torn ACL. Second one in his career. So you bring up good points. I don't disagree with you, my man. Definitely a risk. It would definitely be a risk if the Niners were to get him. Because, again, we said this earlier on the show, would he still be the same, would he still have the same effectiveness? Would he still have the same break off the line? And those are things you'd have to consider coming into a contract with him, because if he wants big money, you're going to be like, look, you need to prove it that you can still be a top flight guy or be productive for us. It would have to be an incentive laden contract. That's the way I look at it. But you're right. I don't disagree with you, my man. So, yeah, Baker was tough. Steve-O says he wants a long-term deal, 3 to 4 years. Really don't make sense for us. 1 to 2 years would be good. I agree with that. If they are going to sign him, if the Niners do sign him, a 2-year deal max. I don't think you go for the 3 or 4, which he wants, which we talked about. You would want to give him a less contract than that 3 to 4. 3 to 4, I think you pin yourself too much to this guy who is injury prone, like Goldblooded said. I think that was a very good comment. I don't think that's false. I think that's very true. Good point he made. And I think that you would want to do maybe a 1 to 2 years. You don't want to tie yourself to 3 to 4 years. I agree. I 100% agree with you guys on that one. So, but then, like Alberta says, it does go back to avoiding other teams and getting them. So it's a win now. So 2 years, you give yourself a good window to win. After 2 years, you dump them, you're good. Because if you keep them for 3 years, you're just dragging it at that point. So I agree with all that. It is definitely good point from Alberto. Try not to let another team upgrade. You want to keep your Super Bowl window open and try to strengthen your chances. You don't want to go long-term, like you guys said, because of the fact that, like Goldblooded said, he is a little bit slower, possibly injury-prone, those types of things. So a lot of good comments on there. So Gold Blooded says he doesn't see him using all the talent. Maybe too much for a basic quarterback. Yeah, that is another topic we talked about earlier. Is would Jimmy be able to utilize all these guys right? Like again, he'd be like a kid in a candy store, but he would be like a kid that has 10 cavities already. He can't really utilize all that candy, right? So definitely is a good point. And we definitely have to mention Jimmy in the whole thing of it is because he is, not the greatest quarterback. Like we said, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. But you would think that this would make him more comfortable. You bring in a guy like this, and it could only strengthen him, make him more comfortable. We saw what CMC did last week, which we talked about earlier. CMC came in. His confidence was like crazy. He made some plays that I never seen him make in a long time, right? He made some nice passes, the dot to Dwelly, the dot to Kittle, the dot to CMC. Like, it did make him a little bit more comfortable, but through a whole season, that was one game. Again, through a whole season, can Jimmy keep it up? We're going to find out soon. So we'll see. 10K, you like that cavity analogy? That was a good one, huh? Throw some light on. It's getting a little dark. It's raining. Also, breaking news. I probably got to go in a few minutes to get my daughter from school. But breaking news. Showers in the Bay this week. It is probably going to rain on Sunday Night Football. They're expecting rain on Sunday Night Football against the Chargers. It is raining here in the Bay. I live like 10 minutes from the stadium. It is raining this week, and it's going to be an overcast weekend. So it's probably going to be a rain game between the Chargers. It's going to be a rain game this weekend. So Guy says OBJ Jimmy's garbage in the rain. Yeah, let's not talk about that. To be fair, Jimmy this season, he's been dealing some dimes. I agree, man. I 100% agree. Gold-blooded. Color me impressed. He's been dropping some dimes, man. He has. Can he keep it up? We shall see. I got to bring the poncho. I do too. I'm going to be there, man. Got to bring that poncho for sure. Let's see. San Jose right now. Today, it is 62 degrees. There's a 60% chance of rain by 5, a 100% chance by rain at 3. So in the next hour, it will be raining. It'll be raining tomorrow. Sunday, there is a chance of rain. Monday is a chance for rain. It's gonna rain, possibly, maybe. Santa Clara, yeah. I'm in downtown San Jose, Santa Clara, pretty close. Pretty close to each other. So definitely might have to bring that poncho. How much money have I spent on jerseys? I don't even know anymore. A lot of money. Last night I was watching the weather report, and they did say it's going to rain. So sometime, like earlier I checked the app, it said no. And then I checked it again a little while ago. It did say yes. So we'll see. It's kind of 50-50 whether it's going to rain. So hopefully it doesn't rain. I don't want to see a rain game. I don't want to be in the rain. I hate going to the rain games. I don't want to get sick. I'm an old man. I'm not trying to get sick. A couple last questions before I head out. Ethan says, will Arik start Sunday? We're not too sure. He didn't return to the light practice today. They're going to monitor his foot and ankle this week. Again, it's plantar fasciitis, very chronic injury, tough one to deal with. We'll hopefully see. I hope he comes back, man. I want Arik Armstead to be back in there. He's very important for the run defense, and he helps Nick Bosa's job a lot. Makes his job a lot easier. But there's no official timetable for his return. So same thing with Greenlaw. There's no exact timetable. They didn't mention anything on Greenlaw other than he didn't practice today. He's still out. But again, Wednesday is when they get back to the real practice. Today was just an extra day. They wanted to make sure these players were back, get back to the game plan, light practice, and kind of get their mind ready for the week. So Wednesday is the first really big practice of the week, and we'll see then. We'll see what happens with Greenlaw and everybody. But again, big news today was Elijah Mitchell, Colton McKivitz, and Azeez Al-Shahir all had their practice window open. Great news. Azeez Al-Shahir told the reporters today that he expects to play Sunday. Elijah Mitchell told Matt Mayoko last week that he expects to play Sunday. So we have two big returns. Greenlaw, Armstead, everybody else will find out through the week as practice continues. Deebo Samuel came back to practice today, and so did Juwan Jennings. Big news for the 49ers. And Kyle Juszczyk came back to practice. Massive news for the 49ers. Really good to hear. They're getting healthy. The bye week was a dub. It's Victory Monday. And with that, I'm pretty much done. I hope you guys had a great day. Thanks for dropping in. Got a good view count today. Make sure you hit that like button. Thanks for engaging. Always love the comments. Always love talking to you guys. Good weekend. I hope everybody else had a good weekend. I'll probably go live on Instagram later tonight after the Monday Night Football game. So we'll see. Stay tuned. But yeah, hope you guys have a good rest of your day and good rest of your week. Let's hope we have a good bye week going into Chargers game on Sunday. And let's pray for no rain. Appreciate you. Bang, bang. Not a gang. Love you guys.